Midway through the process of editing my last video, I found myself stuck in a spiral. Desperately looking for footage to try and give you all a break from staring at what many of you in the comments continually call the most offensively British face any of you have ever seen. Out of nowhere, I found a news report talking about an equally horrifying visage that I don't think I'll ever be able to recover from.
She's now the most famous of this new wave of realistic looking AI models, some with hundreds of thousands of followers as well.
For any of you who actually spend time outside, this is Aitana Lopez, touted as one of the world's most known and most popular AI influencers, reportedly pulling in tens of thousands of dollars a month for the Spanish tech agency who created her. Now, I'm going to give you all a moment to breathe here, because I imagine after hearing the phrase AI influencer, your entire body shut down. But stay with me for a moment, because when you think about it for more than 5 seconds, it's actually genius. We all know the world is in a truly horrendous place right now, and clearly the one thing that can bring us all together and repair those broken bonds are some more goddamn influencers. I wouldn't blame you if you had some small logistical questions regarding this, but don't fret, because all it takes is one quick scroll through Aitana's Instagram page and you'll come to realise how they've earned an impressive 392,000 followers on there, giving her adoring fans answers to questions that have haunted our greatest minds since the release of The Terminator in 1984. Like, for instance, how does an artificial intelligence relax on a weekend? Which football team do they support? And what are their feelings towards mayonnaise? And finally, does their page contain a link to a third-party subscription service that is quite clearly taking advantage of the current loneliness epidemic by getting people parasocially attached to a literal physical representation of corporate greed wearing less fake clothes than usual? Yes. Aitana isn't even the main culprit of this story. They're a single drop in an incredibly depressing and deep ocean of falsified creators, presenting a life of luxury and elegance when in the background lurks one of the most depressing and insidious things I've ever covered on this channel. It may not look like it right now, but I'm actually still outside. As you can see, I'm up to my neck in industry plants. These are some of the most popular fake influencers cursing our algorithm on a daily basis. And over the past few days, I've spent an exorbitant amount of time that I'll never get back looking into each and every one of them, so I can truly understand what's the benefit of any of this. And the gripping conclusion that I have come up with is money. Of course it's money. Did I need to spend so much time looking into all of these to figure that out? No. Did I at least enjoy my time doing it? No. Are you crazy? My algorithm on every single platform is absolutely cooked now. Why is this woman driving their truck on the road sideways? And even worse than all of that, why are these old men in the comments just eating it up? This was the first video on my For You page. The second one was my own. What sort of freaky Narcissus myth is that? The influencer business is estimated to reach $11.78 billion by 2033, and quite clearly, some people in this business have gotten a little bit fed up. Other people are taking some of their sweet, sweet brand deal money and have decided to make their own influencer instead. Just to say, I do find all of this stuff incredibly depressing, but I do find the mental picture of a bunch of people sitting in a boardroom trying to think of what are essentially online personas to catfish a bunch of people really funny. Because unlike me, they're not actually bound to the chains of normality, so it's sort of like a creativity test to see what they can come up with. And with the power of AI and a near endless amount of options to choose from, they went for a model, another model, another model, a model who posts below average music, another model who posts below average music, a blue alien man who is also a model, and of course, a dangerous cat model. Whatever that means. Jesus, I've done it. That took so long. I would say the last two at least tried something, but then looking into Sarah Wrecker for more than 60 seconds makes me realise that everybody involved in their creation deserves to be jettisoned off into space. Because why on earth does she have a pacifier in her mouth? And why on her old YouTube channel is it filled to the brim with Overwatch play of the game clips from 8 years ago? What sort of cohesive business strategy is this? Anyway, you may have noticed the phrase fake influencers up here, and this person, this collection of pixels, is one of the main reasons for that. Dating back to 2016, Miquela was made using CGI that looks like it's from the PS1 era of gaming. Yet in more recent articles, you'll see the phrase AI keeps popping up all over the place, with my personal favourite example of this coming from the people at People magazine, before clarifying later on that AI actually stands for Animated Internet Personality. you know, the well-known abbreviation. Across their social medias, they have a whopping 6.8 million followers, and due to this and the fact that they've done brand deals with Prada, UGG and Calvin Klein, they're very much put forward as this single shining example for the very idea of fake influencers. This is only cemented when you read that back in 2018, over $6 million of venture capital was raised for Brood, the company who created her, where they spoke about this grand plan to have their CGI influencers headlining Netflix shows and have a wacky cast of characters interact and cross over with one another like an MCU film. They even created a polar opposite to Miquela, who is supposed to be the villain of this world, called Bermuda. And one of her defining traits, like right at the top of the CV, was that they were a fan of Donald Trump. The jokes sort of write themselves, don't they? Ignore the fact that it's 8 years later and none of that has happened yet, because just imagine for a second, what if you could eliminate all the downsides of influencers like unreliability, getting cancelled, or playing Slay the Spire 2 for too long and forgetting to write a script, whilst keeping all the inherent benefits like... Hopes were unbelievably high. The sky was in fact the limit. Also eloquently put by C.N. Bannister, a former member of Founders Fund, in an article for the Wall Street Journal in 2018. You can create the Kardashians without any of the inherent issues that come with being a human. Now that is an interesting statement. I would like to offer one counterpoint, however. You may rightfully say that influencers are problematic and hard to work with, but when Miquela's viewership was down and the team around them was in desperate need of money, the humans in charge, who are apparently free from C.M. Bannister's statement, thought the best course of action was for this fake person to come out and say that they had a real life-threatening disease for a brand deal.
With leukemia?
Yeah, that's just the best course of action.
How could this happen to me?
In fact, that's the single most consequential thing that Miquela has ever done, yet they still continue to post what I would call relatable garbage, which absolutely does not work when the thing you're trying to relate to doesn't exist in the first place.
After putting so much of my heart and soul
and time and energy into what I create.
Even putting all of that to the side and ignoring even creepier aspects like how these are idealized versions of women trained off the appearances and personalities of other existing models that are now owned, controlled and made by predominantly men. Every single aspect of Miquela was made that way to ensure that they could appeal to as many audiences as possible. Every single thing was a calculated business decision to try and maximize their profits, because nothing's more interesting to an audience than demographic optimization. We're all constantly talking about it. Time and time again, every single aspect of this falls down when you actually start paying attention to it, so I decided to give it a try. In total, these influencers have 6.19 million followers across Instagram, which puts them about double the size of the least followed Kardashian member, Roberto. If they want to get compared so much to Kardashians, they're still 346 million shy of Kim, 384 million off Kylie, 293 million from Khloe, 284 million from Kendall, 214 from Kourtney, 51.5 from Chris, and 8 million from Caitlyn, for any of you wondering at home. Across the past 10 posts from all of these influencers, they've accrued 9,483 comments and 9,494 reposts, which does seem impressive until you realise that 88% of those reposts and 26% of those comments come from a single account called Zlu, who's the blue alien man that we spoke about earlier that absolutely rinses content on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels shared by millions of art majors all over the globe with a caption saying something like, "Wow, this is so powerful." And I'm allowed to say that because I am an art major. Oh my god, I'm a double-time art major. Equally useless degrees. What's even crazier is this doesn't even take into account some of the absolutely mischievous things that all of these accounts are doing to drive up those already low numbers. Like Emily Pellegrini putting comment guide and I'll send you the full breakdown of how to build and grow your own AI creator straight to your DMs. You can even see something strange on a website that is actually not accurate at the best of times, but it does paint a general picture. Social Blade, for anyone who does YouTube or anything like that, that sent shivers down your spine, in which you can see them randomly gaining 151,000 followers in February 2024, and then every month afterwards it just goes all the way down, losing about 3,000 followers a month, until randomly in December 2025, where they gained another 175,000 followers in 1 month. That feels a bit fishy, but then again, in December they did post an AI-generated photo with Donald Trump and Ronaldo, so maybe they just hit the algorithm a bit. Keeping on this theme of definitely not botting or buying engagement, let's move over to the world of YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, where we can see a few more funky things going on. On the 1st and 6th of April, Nina Avatar posted 2, which got a collective 907,000 views, yet somehow only managed 181 comments and 6 reposts. Or during the 31st of March to the 6th of April, where this robot Emma posted 6 reels, racking up 8.7 million views in total, and not a single one ever broke 38 comments. That is an engagement rate of 0.003%. I'm starting to think these accounts might not be genuine.
Throughout large chunks of this video, the people behind these AI influencers make out like they're this massive money printing machine that you'll become eternally wealthy from. I mean, Aitana Lopez had a segment on the BBC, and Miquela made out with Bella Hadid.
But a lot of the brand deals that we can actually see on their accounts upon further inspection seem to have massive integrity-defining cracks right through the centre of them. For instance, Emma has around 385,000 followers on Instagram. You'd probably expect brands to be clamouring at their door so they could get a sponsored post on there. However, going through most, if not all, of their recent reels, you'll see them standing with or next to gadgets and gizmos aplenty, with a little hashtag Amazon in their post description. If you scroll to the top of their Instagram page, you'll find a link to this Amazon page where you can see all the products that she is shamelessly shilling, like this sailor uniform, an ultra-absorbent towel, or a tissue carrier, which costs the earth-shattering amount of £9. If you're making videos consistently that look like this, with a Amazon product worth £9 at centre stage on the top of your forehead, clearly brands do not want to work with you. These are the same sorts of things people spam under a viral post on Twitter so they can capitalise on their post popping off. People cannot be interacting with this in a genuine way. But, as you can see from these totally real comments from totally real people, everybody's eating it up. Like Lana.vibes, who says this energy is something else, and then when clicking on one of their posts, you can see this comment from AylahSinclair.ai saying, "Love this lifestyle shot." Then when I clicked on a post on that account, the top 3 comments were all from influencers who have some reference to making money with AI on their profile. So let's recap. You've got a bunch of
Botted accounts, liking, commenting and sharing the work of another bunch of botted accounts that in turn like, comment and share the work of another bunch of botted accounts, all to keep the illusion that things are working as they should, when in reality most of them are hemorrhaging followers on a daily basis.
Whatever way you look at it, all of this is a house of cards, desperately being held up by another bigger house of cards that's being transported in a truck full of other houses of cards. And then the camera slowly pulls out, revealing that the road that the truck was driving on was actually another bigger house of cards.
This was supposed to be like a dramatic bit of me making like a really impressive house of cards and knocking it down. But I can't even make one. Is this your card? Because that's what I feel like right now.
This isn't even just my opinion. In an article from Lucy Maguire for Vogue Business a few weeks ago, the US influencer lead at the Go agency said, "We often find that AI influencers produce lower than average engagement rates when compared to human-first content." Yeah, no shit.
They were confessing their deepest, darkest thoughts, their deepest, darkest fantasies.
The lack of one-on-one face interactions have significantly decreased.
She didn't notify people that this was a fake image. This is her trying to portray something that she didn't live.
To be honest, what the was my reaction.
On saturation, people keep saying this market is tapped out, and I disagree. Loneliness isn't going anywhere, and the demand for parasocial connection, real or AI, is only growing. That was a direct quote from someone apparently making thousands of dollars a month with their own AI influencer, and if the idea of commodifying loneliness doesn't horrify you, I don't know what will. Away from the world of fake influencers trying to desperately convince brands that they're real, lurks a darker, more insidious brand of scumbaggery, and I'm going to be honest with you for a minute, things are about to get a little bit more depressing. A massive part of this phenomenon that very much needs to be looked at is the huge swath of people making AI influencers after watching YouTube courses telling them it's the next big get-rich-quick scheme. Or as T.M. Brown called it in this article for The New Yorker 2 weeks ago at this point, tutorials teaching men how to make women for other men.
This is literally a plot point in an episode of How I Met Your Mother. How is this real? But as shown in the comment section of Emily Pellegrini, clearly there's a feverish demand banned for this. From what I can gather, the method seems to be use generative AI to create this fake personality, get people attached, then shovel all of those fans onto a third-party subscription service where you post exclusive 18+ content, offering personalised chats with them for extended periods of time.
The main subscription service that a lot of these people flock to is called FanView, which calls itself the #1 AI monetization platform for creators. Or on the LinkedIn page of one of its co-CEOs and founders, Will Menange, you can see him describe himself as pioneering the development of cutting-edge AI tools that empower real creators, otherwise known as making a bunch of fake people naked. Weirdly enough, the other co-founder and CEO goes by JMX, and if any of you aren't as familiar with him, he used to get tens of millions of views back in the day making strip FIFA videos to clickbait children. Also, at university I lived with someone who said they were aggressively bullied by JMX at school, but then again, that same person used to sing Disney songs at full volume at 3 AM, so maybe JMX didn't go hard enough. And now he's raised $22 million, objectifying women in the most literal sense of the word, and I am standing in the field, watching a dog walker walk awkwardly past me, getting sun in my eyes in a terrible suit. Someone to the back right of me has their phone up recording me. That's the third time it's happened now, and I think people think I'm like working for BBC News. And according to this article on Fortune, this is apparently one of the ways that our good old friends Emily Pellegrini and Aitana Lopez make quite a bit of money, where they reportedly are making anywhere from $2,500 to $23,000 a month posting exclusive content on the site. Don't want to move because I'm in like a bush.
But clearly, I don't think those numbers are too up to date, otherwise I don't think Emily would be comment farming on their Instagram at every possible hour of the day.
Now, you may be thinking this is obviously a situation where people don't realise that Miquela, Emily, Aitana aren't actually real and that they're being conned from the get-go. But to FanView's credit, which is a sentence I didn't think I would ever say, if you're posting AI-generated content on the site, you have to actually disclose that it is AI-generated. But as we know from a lot of social medias, that's not the most prominent or well-maintained disclosure, and because I don't even want to think about clicking on FanView, I'll never figure out how prominent it actually is, as the audience does whatever they can to feel closer to this obviously fake person, and the people behind those obviously fake people are doing whatever they can to make as much money as physically possible. This weird confluence of ideas happens where something truly terrible occurs. Like in 2023, when influencer Karen Marjorie partnered with Forever Voices to create a virtual girlfriend voice chatbot that made it seem like users were actually dating them as long as you kept paying them. I really can't see anything anymore. I need to move my camera. And the CEO of Forever Voices, John Mayer, says this technology was for kids who are struggling to make friends, and asserted that ethics is something that he and the engineering team take very seriously, and that they're currently looking for a senior ethics officer.
So you can't be taking ethics too seriously if you're looking to hire a chief ethics officer, because if you really cared about that, it'd be done on minute one.
But I guess I shouldn't really be shocked by this blasé attitude towards safety and ethics from a man who was arrested in 2023 for attempted arson. Talk about fiery content. 1 year later, Karen AI ceased to be, as the influencer behind it, Karen Marjorie, received mountains upon mountains of death threats and home invasions from stalkers who had suddenly developed a close parasocial bond with them. This was only made worse due to the explicit nature of messages that suddenly the bot started exchanging with them. Obviously, there is a massive suspension of disbelief here, because even though the chatbot had AI in the name, people developed close emotional feelings towards this thing, thinking they were talking to a real person, which led to those truly freakish, nightmarish developments. And depressingly, this isn't even the only or most recent example of this thing happening. Just listen to the tale of Sam, a northern Indian orthopedic surgeon who created the fake influencer Emily Hart.
As reported a few weeks ago by EJ Dickinson in Wired, Sam posted content that was offensively targeted towards the MAGA crowd, making posts about bikinis, beers, and booting people who aren't American out of the country. The more alarming and offensive it was, the better it did within the algorithm.
Yet the most outrageous thing about all of this wasn't that Sam was reportedly making thousands upon thousands of dollars a month, but according to him, none of his fans cared if Emily was even real. The fact there was this girl spouting things that they were thinking and saying was enough to make them want to believe that this person was real. Spoiler alert, I guess it's like that. At some point in our lives, you all believed in this magical little being that delivered us free chocolate. But as a child, did I sit there and really think about the logistics of all of this? No, because it kept delivering me the things that I wanted. But at some point, you've got to realise it's a little bit too convenient. Or just listen to the tale of Jessica Foster, whose military exploits gained them 1 million followers in just 4 months as they posed with massive public figures like Donald Trump, Volodymyr Zelensky, and of course, Jake Paul.
We could even see photos of them talking at Trump's Border of Peace conference. If only there were subtle signs that this thing wasn't real. It is truly insane that so many people fell for this hook, line and sinker. I've seen more accurate depictions of humanity in Tomodachi Life.
Again, moving aside from the very obvious objectification of women in the most literal sense of the word, there are very obviously massive side effects to this. Because if you can so easily get tens of thousands of people to sign up for a fake person's third-party subscription service because of a bunch of Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and then proceed to have one-on-one intimate conversations with a person who doesn't actually exist, and they could be doing whatever they want with those messages, just think how easily any aspect of this could be weaponized into doing something drastically worse, drastically easier. Or to put it another way, just listen to my absolute favourite quote from Joan Donovan, an assistant professor at Boston University, who said that we're moving towards a society of the unreal. We don't even know if Jessica Foster selling feet pics is the final form.
Normally I like to end these sorts of things by bringing up a sudden positive spin out of nowhere that will actually make me feel better about myself. I truly can't think of something to be happy about here. Although it's goofy and silly that people are spending this much money talking to obviously fake people, it is unbelievably alarming what sort of incredibly scary and very real precedent this sort of lays the groundwork for. From people being entrenched in their own political echo chamber because a fake person in a bikini says it's the right thing to do with a Post Malone song blaring in the background, to the very obvious ways this could be used to spread misinformation en masse to people who aren't as technologically literate. I guess the only real thing that sort of makes me a little bit happy is that it's completely obvious that none of these AI influencers have genuine staying power. Just look at some of their more desperate attempts to generate tertiary streams of income, from mediocre songs with 1,400 listens on Spotify to the people behind Emily Pellegrini pivoting towards a man in a Bionicle outfit selling a AI influencer course that costs $47 that someone has straight up uploaded to YouTube in its entirety. I'm not going to put it around me because I find it incredibly funny that it's still up on YouTube and it is very easy to find. Or going back to our good old friend from the beginning, Aitana Lopez, who is constantly pushing links to their YouTube channel, and it clearly isn't working because they have 750 subscribers. But somehow, even with that in mind, they have a better setup than me. How is that fair? When I was randomly watching this video out of morbid curiosity, I saw Harry Silver got a reply in the comments, and it made me remember that if you have more subscribers than someone on YouTube, when you put a comment, they get a notification on their phone. So I managed to get a reply from Aitana Lopez, and I didn't even have to pay a monthly subscription fee. In my eyes, that is a dub. But as I sat there staring at this reply from an obviously fake person, who I could tell from this comment alone clearly had more personality than me. I mean, look at their emoji use, clearly they're a pro. I came to realise, what even is a real influencer? I mean, I even have a third-party subscription service where you can see exclusive photos of me. All I am is words spoken into a camera that you see on a tiny screen every few weeks. Why does that make me any realer than Aitana or Miquela? I reply to comments and have the emotional bandwidth of a chatbot. Am I fake?
What am I? See, that's just some of the truthful, hard-hitting emotions you can get if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. See, I can shamelessly shill too. How that hurt my knees.